It's a very telling day that even they had to protect their own behinds in their neighborhoods, because they would not have gotten reelected if they went along with Obama on this, because it was nakedly for the giant oligarchs.
Well, I'll tell you, Cruz and Walker were two people that I liked.
Oh, so I never liked Cruz. I thought he was a snake. But I did like Walker, and I even said so. But if he actually said that, then I'm not going to support him for whatever that matters.
He did. You can,
Dave, thank you for calling, my friend. It's a sad day in America for all of us to learn what's been done to the worker. But by the way, send that Dave a copy of Countdown to Mecca for Father's Day. You know, I try to explain to you where all these foreigners are coming from in America. Many of you think it's just from Mexico. Well, many are. Many are from China. In fact, there are more being brought in from Asia than from Mexico by Obama, and more from the Middle East than you may imagine. But many of these workers amongst us, these immigrant workers, are actually being brought in by the oligarchs under the H-1B and L-1 intra-company transfer visas that I mentioned to you. They didn't sneak into the country. They were given a magic carpet into the country. And they were given these entries not because they like immigrants, not because Zuckerberg loves immigrants, as I hated when he marched with the immigrant groups about a year ago. Remember Zuckerberg, what an idiot he made of himself? Marching arm in arm like he was Martin Luther King Jr. with the Hispanic unions. He wasn't doing it because he liked Hispanics. That greedy Aztec wanted more gold. And that's why my statement today is probably the best I've ever made on this subject. These guys make the Aztecs look like benevolent tourists. And as you well know, the Aztecs were not benevolent tourists. In fact, the Aztecs were not the perpetrators of the genocide against themselves. No, it was the conquistadors who were those who decimated the Aztec culture, who exploited them and killed them, and took as much gold out of the country that they could, out of the nations that they could, out of the earth. And remember I told you the story yesterday when it was the end of the Aztec Empire after all the gold had been sucked out to Spain and to Portugal, mainly to Spain, by the way, when one of the dying Aztecs said, the Europeans have a disease, the gold disease, and there's not enough gold in the world to cure this disease. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust to protect my wealth. Call 800-BUY-COIN. Well, we have another winner of the Benedict Arnold Award today, and that would be Paul Ryan of Wisconsin. We're going to give him a double award. Not only does Paul Ryan get the Benedict Arnold Award, he gets the Quisling Award as well. Now let's listen in to the winner himself, Paul Ryan, on the TPP vote last night.
Since TPA lapsed in 2007, the rest of the world kept going. While America stood still on trade, the rest of the world created 100 trade agreements, negotiated and passed 100 trade agreements, to which the United States was a party to 0 of them. What this means is other countries are going around the world getting better agreements between other countries, and as a result, the barriers against American products goes higher.
Liar. He's got it exactly backwards. He's nothing but a paid you-know-what. I can't use what I'd really call him if it was in a barroom right now. That's what I think of him and Boehner and the rest of them. The fact of the matter is this could still be one of the greatest manufacturing nations on earth. It's really quite simple. You don't have to be a genius. Let's go back to what the Founding Fathers did in order to protect American manufacturing in this country. They established trade barriers. They put in tariffs on foreign goods because the equivalent of China in those days was Britain. Britain didn't like the emerging United States of America. After they lost the war, the Revolutionary War, and America started to boom, what they wanted to do was prevent this nation from growing economically. And so they started to flood America with cheap goods to prevent us from developing our own machinery, even our own candle making. And what happened was the American leaders at that time cared about America. So they established what I call trade barriers, known as tariffs against British goods. That is how a country takes care of its own. That is how a nation protects its industry and its bases. Not by signing trade agreements with other countries where they charge us tariffs and we don't charge them any. Ask any American who exports in this country. You ask anyone listening to this show. I want you to ask the next person you meet. Ask them what happens when they try to export their product abroad. Ask them what happens. Ask about the red tape they face in the EU. Ask them about the tariffs that are imposed on their goods when the goods reach those before the goods can be sent to those countries. And then reverse it. Find out what it takes for a foreign country to sell its goods in America. The reverse is true. That's why the country is dying. It's because we have sellout louts at every level of government and every level of the oligarchy that runs the country. We know the names. We know who they are. It's supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's not supposed to be a government of itself, by itself, and for itself, meaning just lobbyists for the oligarchs who have no loyalty to any nation. No loyalty to any nation. Oligarchs for whom only more green is all that matters. So to summarize, Obama got a real beating today. He put his reputation on the line. He went before Congress. He tried to lobby them. He got up early, probably. For him, probably early in the day was 10 o'clock. I don't know when. And he actually went to Congress. Would you believe it? He actually went before them, and he tried to lobby them. And the liberals, the progressives said, no, we can't do it. We can't do it because if we back you, Mr. Obama, we're going to get thrown out by our out-of-work base. The union said no because they would have lost union dues. They didn't want to lose union dues. How else could they survive? Unions live off the dues of the workers. So if you bleed 3 million workers, less dues. That's why Pelosi voted. So that's how it worked. Thank God. Trade agenda defeat. Hooray.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
I will be voting today to slow down the fast track to get a better deal for the American people.
Yay.
Bigger paychecks,
All right,
better infrastructure.
She did. We got the point. So the biggest bully in the world has been defeated by the Progressive Conservative Coalition. Hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray. Now, this may be a temporary victory for the American worker. It may be a temporary victory for American sovereignty. It may be a temporary victory because over the next 48 to 90 whatever hours, before they vote on this again on Tuesday, anything can happen. And I warn you that most of the Republicans, including your heroes, Ted Cruz, the ice cream man Rubio, and now Walker, apparently, are in favor of this trade authority for Obama. And I oppose it for the reasons I've expressed to you. And unlike those who are opposing it without having read it, I certainly read the most important provision from my point of view, which is the immigration provisions. Daniel Costa and Ron Hira at EPI.org posted the immigration provisions that were hidden deep inside the basement of the congressional offices that no one has been able to see. And it's far worse than you think. The liars, like Boehner was saying, oh, it's all rumor. Oh, the internet's full of gossip. It's worse than you think. And they spelled it out. The B-1B visas, the L-1 intracompany transfers are all spelled out in there. And we learned in plain English, the bottom line is that the TISA was written in secret by and for major corporations that would have benefited them greatly if it became law. What it really would have done was given them the authority to set policy not only on immigration, but on many other deliberations of their own. It would have taken it out of the hands of the people and their representatives in Congress. This was a leaked TISA text, and it made it clear that contrary to the claims by proponents of Fast Track Trade Promotion Authority, the reality is that those voting for Fast Track were ceding key powers to make immigration law and policy to an unelected group of corporations and foreign governments. So now we see what it's all about. And we can name the corporations because they've been named. They've been outed. Not that it matters to them. They're so above the law. What does it matter? Does it matter to Microsoft? Does it matter to General Electric? Does it matter to Facebook? Does it matter to any of these elites who push the fast track without public consent? Does it matter to the Silicon Valley oligarchs who went behind the American people in a push to make it happen? AT&T, IBM, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, eBay, Cisco, Intel, and Xerox. Does it matter to any of these people what you think? You are nothing but a customer to them. To you, you're nothing but a customer. To them, rather, you're nothing but a customer. You're not an American. American is a misnomer to them. If they could, there's no flags left in the world. The world is one gigantic marketplace to AT&T, IBM, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, eBay, Cisco, Intel, Xerox, and many others who backed Obama's trade initiative. That's my opinion. What's your opinion? KSFO George, you have a different opinion? Go ahead. That's why you're on the Savage Nation.
Yes, Mr. Savage, I was agreeing with you on so much, but you're shocking me with the way you argue against free trade. There are many things about it. There might be things in the immigration in the bill. I don't know about that, but...
Wait. I spent 2 hours explaining what they are in the bill, so don't say you don't know anything about it.
Now, that might be it, but you still argue against free trade in a way that I just can't agree with.
Well, George, first of all, there is no free trade. Just as there's no such thing as a free lunch, we don't have free trade. You know and I know that NAFTA isn't free trade. You and I both know that GATT was never free trade. That's why America's been hollowed out from the point of view of an industrial base. Everybody who studied this knows that.
Milton Friedman, for example, there are many, when a country puts up tariffs against the U.S. or limits their trading, they're giving us their goods and getting only our paper. You say there's big companies, there's also big business. That's why neither should be favored by government. They're self-interest seekers. I don't think you understand what we've been talking about. This has nothing to do with free trade. It has to do with benefiting a handful of oligarchs who run the largest companies in America, George. That's what the founding fathers were against, was a handle for these people to get their grips on power. It was big government that they were most afraid of, not big business and labor. There's all kinds of different...
But what is the difference between the oligarchs of business and the oligarchs of government? Tell me the differential.
The difference is that the oligarchs of government have absolute power. And business does not have absolute power.
But business was trying to give Obama absolute power. That was the whole point of defeating this bill.
The idea of the founding fathers was to keep the...
Let's put the founding fathers out of it for a minute. The oligarchs were trying to give Obama absolute power over so many aspects of our lives. You know that.
I was a libertarian when I started. I became a Republican when I thought they were running an anarchist, and Ronald Reagan came on the scene. And now there's no such thing as a Republican anymore. Again, in true sense of the word, I'm back to being a libertarian. I agree with you on that.
But you're telling me that you actually want lower wages. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
It's real wages. If you allow...
Well, no. How low do you want the wages to go? Tell me, $1 an hour? Would that satisfy the corporate oligarchs?
The level that they're supposed to be at.
Well, what should they be at? Tell me what they should be at. The level of what they earn in China?
The point is you can't tell...
No, the point is how low do you want the wages to go to follow the absurdity of your argument? You're giving a reducto ad absurdum argument. You're saying that let the wages find their own level. Well, how can you let that happen when you're competing with China where there are slave laborers there?
That is not slave labor. But anyway, how long could that...
What is the hourly wage in a Chinese factory?
Say that again? Well, I didn't hear.
What is the hourly wage rate in a China factory?
You don't know what the level should be. I don't know what the level should be.
Well, you just said let the level find itself. So I said to you, what is the hourly wage in China for a factory worker?
You can't place the level anywhere.
Well, wait, you're not answering the question. You're alleging that you should let wages fall to whatever level they should fall to have free trade. I'm asking you, what's the hourly rate in China? It's a simple question.
We couldn't tell you what the hourly rate in China.
But you don't. But wait, just follow the logic. Whatever that rate is, it's admittedly at least 10 or 20 times lower than it is in America. Can we estimate that that's true?
Can we say then that the rate...
No, don't jump to me. Let's take it a step at a time. We agree that it's 10 to 20 times lower than in America, right?
Can we? How about if we go up a little higher?
Look,